without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the first presenter. The first presenter is Associate Professor Cecilia Gonzalez-Tockman, and she's going to be presenting the TM Cherry Award for the Best Student Presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you please share some new emoticon to make sure you're hearing me. Great, fantastic. So my name is Cecilia Gonzalez-Tockman. I'm at the University of Queensland, and this year I'm the chair of TM Cherry Committee, whose job it is to select the best student presentation at the ANZIAM conference. So this is a very challenging task, and of course there's a committee, great committee, who helps with this task. It's impossible for one person to do this, because in this case we have more than 70 student talks. So our committee made sure to go to all the student talks. We had at least a couple committee members in each of the talks, and then we got together every day to discuss the talks and try to rank and select the winners. In addition to discussing the candidates and try to rank them, we also had a few discussions about what we thought made an online talk really outstanding, and also about how important it is for us all, and it will continue being, to be able to deliver great online presentations. Of course, we had a really, really difficult task, and so before mentioning the winners and the honorable mentions, I want to mention the names of the people in the committee. So maybe you can raise your hand if you're in the audience, and people can share some emoticons for them. So the committee this year was formed by Elliot Carr, Michelle Dunbar, Jen Flegg, Bronwyn Hayek, Vivian Kirk, Terry O'Kane, Thomas Stemler, Sharon Stephen, Alex Tam, and Theo Bo. So I want to thank very much all of them for their hard work, and thanks everyone who is sharing emoticons and hearts and all the emotions for them. So thanks very much. This was great committee to work with, and now let's move on to the really fun part, and the part we've all been expecting. So the honorable mentions this year, we had 7 people. These are Jessica Croshaw. So if you're there, please come up front. Michael Dennis. If you're around, please come to the front. Dominic Germano. Antia Le. Ryan Murphy. Abhirami Srikurani, and Shota Shigetomi. So we have 7 honorable mentions. I can see 3 of you. So Antia, if you can come to the stage.
All right.
So
I'm going to take a screenshot.
If you're done with that, Mark, we can thank the honorable mention winners and give them another round of applause. Fantastic. Okay, so thanks very much. So you can all come back to your seats. And now we are going to announce the winners. So this year we have 2 winners, actually. And So I will ask them to come up to the stage when I name them, and we're also going to take some pictures, and we're going to clap, and you're going to receive a prize from the society. So we'll follow up on that with you. So the winners for the 2021 TM Cherry Prize this year are Alex Browning from QUT and Rahil Valani from Monash. So if you could please come to the stage and stand next to me. So maybe say cheese, cheese. All right.
1, 2.
Say cheese, Graham. Cheese.
I think I have it. Thank you very much.
All right. So please, everyone, join me once again in congratulating the winners. Yeah, there's lots of people clapping. That's really good. And I also want us to give a round of applause for all the student talks this year, which were really, really good. So thanks, everyone, and congratulations to the winners. All right, so that's it for the TM Cherry Prize. And next, I will call Alice Clark to the stage so she presents the J.H. Mitchell Medal.
So my name's Alice Clark. I'm from University of Auckland, and I'm here today to present the J.H. Mitchell Medal. So I was the chair of the organising committee this year, and I will just briefly say thanks to everybody else who helped me to make this very difficult decision this year. I would just like to thank Alex James, Michael Small, Natalie Thamwatana, and Nigel Bean for taking part and really being great committee members. So we'll do a virtual round of applause to all of them if everyone can hear. Yay. So the J.H. Mitchell Medal was named in honour of John Henry Mitchell, who was an outstanding applied mathematician who was active in the late 1800s to early 1900s. The medal's awarded annually by ANZIAM to an astounding new researcher who's undertaken distinguished research in applied or industrial mathematics, where a significant proportion of that research has been carried out in Australia or New Zealand. So far, to date, there have been 19 winners of the J.H. Mitchell Medal, and those winners date back to 1999. So this year we're awarding the 20th Mitchell Medal. There were a number of really outstanding nominees, and several nominees who certainly should be renominated in future years. It was a very there was a lot of discussion and a very impressive field. But ultimately, the awarding committee have agreed and made the decision to award the J.H. Mitchell Medal for 2021 to Lewis Mitchell of University of Adelaide. So Lewis has made significant contributions to the emerging field of computational social science, and he uses mathematical modelling, computational and statistical techniques to assess real-world social phenomena. Lewis's research has had an impact across a number of applications. He has successfully collaborated with a number of groups to investigate the geography of happiness, the shapes of stories in novels in different languages, the impact of body image on social media, and monitoring of the wildlife trade, to name but a few. Lewis has taken this work and contributed to a significant number of outreach activities, including being featured in an installation artwork at Museum of Discovery in Adelaide, and numerous media pieces, including regular contributions to the conversation with over 230,000 readers since 2016. On top of that, he's reached the public through a number of international media outlets, including ABC News, The Washington Post, The Wall Street Journal, and The Atlantic. Lewis's CV is impressive. He has attracted several competitive grants, including CRC funding, across multiple applications of his work. He has an extensive publication record with 50 publications to date, including 37 journal articles, many of which have arisen from collaborative projects. He's supervised 17 postgraduate students across 3 faculties, showing that he's really doing a great job of collaborative research. He's also attracted several honours and undergraduate projects. So he's supervising students across the board. In 2018, Lewis was awarded the South Australia Tall Poppy Award and the ACEMS Awards for Outreach and Outstanding Achievements. The extent and effectiveness of Lewis's collaborations and outreach activities, along with his successful translation of applied mathematics techniques across multiple applications, has helped him gain a significant reputation already that's likely to continue in years to come. And really, his work in representing mathematics to the broader community is really very impressive. So the committee regards Dr. Lewis Mitchell as an outstanding early career researcher and a worthy recipient of the 2021 J.S. Mitchell Medal. So a round of applause and virtual cheers. Thank you, well done. Do you want to say something? You're welcome to. You don't have to. Put you on the spot.
For the selection committee, this is a huge honour. This is the probably the biggest thing I'll ever win, which means my career is from downhill from here on. I guess maybe I'll take this as an affirmation of this sort of research, which people often call data science. But I firmly think that good data science and good mathematical modelling are one and the same thing. So it's great to see that recognised. I guess there's a few people that I'll thank. Gail Gottwald taught me how to be a scientist, I suppose. Chris Stanforth and Peter Dodds introduced me to a new sort of science, and they showed me that it's possible to do science and balance that with a family and a life outside of academia. Then most recently, I guess, Matt Rowan, Josh Ross, who nominated me, Nigel Bean gave me a platform to do this research, to make it into a career. I've been enormously privileged to work with of all of those people. I guess these days, the other group to thank is, I stand on the shoulders of a really strong group of students, as you mentioned before. Some of whom are known to this community. So people like Caitlin Gray, Vanessa Glennie, Jessica Penfold, Rose Crocker. I'm really proud to supervise and proud that they're out in the world with applied mathematical skills doing data science. I guess the most important person is my wife Beck, who's a much more impressive person, much more successful person than me, and it's truly humbling. And without her, none of this would be possible, and none of it would mean anything. So thank you so much. This is a huge honour. Thank you.
Thank you, and well done again. And so, time to move on to the next medal, the Tuck Medal. So I'll leave my place on the stage and invite Yvonne Stokes, the chair of the committee for the Tuck Medal, to come.
So hello everyone, I'm Yvonne Stokes. I'm from the University of Adelaide, and I'm here of course to announce the winner of the Tuck Medal. But first I'm going to start by saying something about that medal and the committee that helped decide the winner. So the EOTUC Medal is a mid-career award for outstanding research and distinguished surveyed mathematics. It was instituted by ANZIAM, Ernest Oliver Tuck, who was a Fellow of the Australian Mathematical Society and Academy of Technology and Engineering. So it is a great pleasure and a privilege to one EOTUC medalist to be from Michael Planck from the University of Canterbury in New Zealand. Come up to the stage. See, I could put up a picture, but I think he'll beat me. So it is a pleasure and privilege to announce the 2021 EOTUC medalist to be Professor Michael Planck, University of Canterbury, New Zealand. Mike is an expert in mathematical modelling of complex biological and social systems at multiple scales, from intracellular signalling and collective cell behaviour through to large ecosystem dynamics. His research is transdisciplinary and application-driven, employing mechanistic and stochastic mathematical modelling to give insight into underlying mechanisms. His publications are a blend of novel methods and results in applied mathematics and application-focused models that have impact in other disciplines and outside academia. Mike has 103 papers published in diverse top-ranking multidisciplinary journals, including Nature, Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences USA, Physical Review E, Ecology Letters, Journal of the Royal Society Interface, International Council for the Exploration of the Seas, Journal of Marine Science, Neurocomputing, and more. His research paper on random walks in the in the Journal of the Royal Society Interface is the go-to paper for researchers using random walks to model biological processes and has almost 1,200 citations according to Google Scholar. That's a tremendous achievement. Invitations to speak include at the International Conference on Mathematical Sciences and Technology in Malaysia, workshops at the Banff International Research Station and UC Berkeley's Gump Research Station, the Asia Pacific Forum Math for Industry, and our own ANZIAM conferences. Mike has been successful in securing significant competitive external research funding. He is a principal investigator and one of 4 research team leaders at Te Punaha Matatini, the Centre for Complex Systems, that is one of 10 New Zealand Centres of Research Excellence. And he has been a principal investigator on 2 Marsden grants and a partner investigator on 2 ARC discovery projects. Mike's research has significant impact in industry and government, both in New Zealand and internationally. He is a member of the New Zealand Prime Minister's Chief Science Advisor Expert Panel towards Vision for Fisheries in New Zealand in 2040. His ongoing research on balanced fishing has been cited in reports by the Food and Agriculture Organisation of the United Nations and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, and discussed in a forum at the European Union Parliament. His research on social networks of at-risk children has been influential in the New Zealand Ministry for Children and led to an invitation to present at the International Congress on the Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect in 2019. Mike also co-leads the team modelling COVID-19 in New Zealand and advising the government on its policy and operational response. In March 2020, he led the development of a stochastic age-structured branching process model driven by data on COVID-19 cases imported into New Zealand by international travellers. This model quickly became and remains the main tool for modelling the spread and control of COVID-19 in New Zealand. Mike's team was seconded by the National Crisis Management Centre, regularly briefs Cabinet in advance of decisions about changes in COVID-19 alert levels and policy settings such as testing, contact tracing and border quarantine strategies. Mike's work has come to the attention of the New Zealand Prime Minister, who has personally written to thank him. He is an invited member of the Pandemic Response Subgroup of the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, an international group of experts promoting the responsible use of algorithms and data to inform public health responses. Mike has long been a leading member of the New Zealand branch of ANZIAM and is the current president. He also serves the ANZIAM community more broadly. He has represented ANZIAM on the board of the International Council of Industrial and Applied Mathematics since 2016. He has been an associate editor for the ANZIAM Journal since 2010 and has sat on ANZIAM's executive committee since 2014. He was one of 2 co-conveners of the ANZIAM 2019 conference in Nelson in New Zealand, for which he led the development and implementation of a code of conduct, which has since been adopted for all ANZIAM conferences and events. He was then involved in the development of the code of conduct for the ANZIAM Society. Mike promotes the profession of applied mathematics through outreach activities such as public lectures, school enrichment talks, and activities on mathematical modelling. He has been a member of the Mathematics in Industry New Zealand MINS reference group since its establishment in 2016, and he is on the organising committee for MINS 2021. Mike contributes to the development of the next generation of applied mathematicians. He has supervised 5 postdoctoral fellows and 15 PhD and 2 master's students in a range of application areas, often with collaborators in industry. Many have gone on to jobs in academia, Crown Research Institutes, government or private sector organisations, both in New Zealand and around the world. He has also acted as external examiner of many high degree research theses. I could say more, but I think that's enough for now. There'll be a longer citation in the Gazette. I think everyone will agree that Michael is a very worthy winner of the EOTUC medal, and please join me in congratulating him. And Mike, if you'd like to say something, go right ahead.
Thank you very much, Yvonne, for those words. And well, I'm a bit overwhelmed, really. I won't say a lot other than that it's just an incredible honour to receive this award. I never met Ernie Tuck, but I know the calibre of researcher that he was, and to receive the medal in his name is truly an incredible honour. I feel very, very privileged and lucky and fortunate to be recognised in this way. The list of people I could thank would just be so long that we would be here all night. But I'll maybe just say thank you to Matt Simpson and Mary Myerscough for nominating me, and to all my collaborators and all my students over the years, without whom none of what we've just heard about, any of it would have happened or been remotely possible. So I'm eternally grateful to everyone that I've worked with, everyone who's mentored me and advised and encouraged me over the years. My first ANZIAM was in Napier I think it was 2005. And ever since then, coming to ANZIAM has really felt like coming home. It really feels like a very welcoming community. And so to receive a medal from ANZIAM like this is really an immense honour. So thank you.
Okay, so over to Peter Taylor now, who's going to tell us the winner of the ANZIAM medal.
So thanks, Yvonne. Can everyone hear me? Good, because I was really worried when my screen froze in Gathertown and I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to talk about this. So the ANZIAM medal is our society's most prestigious medal. It recognises research achievement, wide-ranging activities enhancing the discipline of applied and industrial mathematics, and contributions to ANZIAM. The committee this year for the ANZIAM medal consisted of Phil Howlett, Larry Forbes, myself, Alona Bantel, and Amy Albrecht. And we had a really difficult task. This, when you look at what people do in our society, it's quite amazing to see what happens, and that everyone who was nominated was deserving. But as always, we have to make a decision, and the decision of the committee is that the 2021 ANZIAM medal will go to Nalini Joshi from the University of Sydney. So I don't know if Nalini's here, but I'm going to read a fair bit from the citation. Congratulations, Nalini, if you are on this call.
I am.
But Nalini's sustained contribution. Oh, so congratulations. Well done, Nalini.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to say a few things about you. Nalini's sustained contributions in these three areas, the areas of research, contributions to the discipline of applied and industrial mathematics, and contributions to ANZIAM, over a long time make her most deserving recipient of the ANZIAM Medal. She's a world leader in the theory and applications of differential equations that form the basis for understanding the effects of random behavior in fields as diverse as particle physics, quantum mechanics, large prime number distributions, and wireless communications. She's made unparalleled contributions to applied mathematics and leadership, gender equity, and promotion of mathematics. And I'm sure, despite what we might or might not know of Nalini in her research, I'm sure we've all come across what she does for our discipline in general. And I think it's absolutely, when we say it's unparalleled, I'm quite comfortable in saying that. It really is. And she's been a consistent and active member in ANZIAM for a long time. So Nalini received her PhD from Princeton in 1987. She'd worked at ANU, University of New South Wales, and University of Adelaide. And then she moved to University in Sydney in 2002, where she now holds the position of Payne Scott Professor and Chair of Applied Mathematics. Classical mathematical modelling, as we all quite often talk about at these sort of conferences, relies on linear models, but much of the world is non-linear, and a lot of the talks we've heard have been talking about precisely these things. So prediction of non-linear systems is necessary for understanding and controlling our world, but the difficulty of prediction is compounded by singularities where functions become immeasurable. And there aren't many tools for describing such non-linear singular systems, but it's really Nalini's expertise. She's pioneered innovative methodologies for describing these, with a particular focus on integrable systems, and I'm sure most of us have heard of talk about Payne-Levé equations. I hope I pronounced that okay. Nalini has a deep understanding of nonlinear systems, and that's how enabled her to develop simple, precise definitions of functions, yielding descriptions that extend to the whole domain of existence. And she's shown how to relate behavior before and after critical transition points in these functions. Nalini's written over 100 peer-reviewed papers, together with authored and edited monographs. She's made outstanding contributions. Her outstanding contributions to mathematics have earned her numerous accolades, including a fellowship with the Australian Academy of Sciences in 2008, the London Mathematical Society's prestigious Hardy Fellowship in 2015, a Bragg membership of the Royal Institution of Australia in 2019, the 2019 New South Wales Premier's Prize for Excellence in Mathematics, Chemistry, Physics, and Geosciences. I'm not sure if that's and or maybe. And most recently, Nalini was the recipient of the 2020 Zekros Medal from the Australian Mathematical Society. So well done, Nalini. That's absolutely amazing. Nalini was awarded an Australian Research Council Laureate Fellowship in 2012, and that's the most prestigious fellowship you can win in any discipline from the Australian Research Council. And in particular, she was that year named the Australian Research Council Georgina Sweet Laureate Fellow, which gives the recipients extra funding for activities to promote and support women in research. And I'm sure we're all aware of some of the activities that Nalini used that funding for. In particular, she used it to initiate and support activities such as the Women in Maths lunches at the annual ANZIAM conferences. And I'm sure we're all aware of the value of these events. They raise awareness, they provide support and networking opportunities, and they strengthen a sense of community. And we've seen the fruits of that in ANZIAM. And Nalini also does it in OSTEMS, by the way, but we're particularly talking about ANZIAM here. Nalini was due to start a visiting professor in the UK in 2020. I'm guessing, Nalini, that you never got there personally, or if you did, you've found your way back here. And she's often been invited as a principal speaker by prominent overseas mathematical associations. She's a member of the editorial boards of 4 international journals. She served on the ASC Selection Advisory Committee, and she's been co-chair of the Future Fellowships panel. She's a vice president of the International Mathematical Union, as well as serving on other national and international panels. She was the first female professor of mathematics and the first woman to be head of the School of Mathematical Sciences at University of Sydney, and she's been president of the Australian Mathematical Society. She's worked tirelessly to promote mathematics, including applied mathematics, to the whole community, the wider scientific community and the general public. She was instrumental in the development of the Decadal Plan for Mathematical Sciences. She's been a panelist on Q&A on the ABC. She's frequently interviewed on mathematics education, both online and on the radio. She was appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia in 2016 for distinguished services to mathematical science and tertiary education as an academic author and researcher, to professional societies, and as a role model and mentor of young mathematicians. And I don't think we could say it any better than that. She's very famous for creating new ways to encourage, support and retain women in STEM careers. And her work on diversity, including the creation of the Science in Australia Gender Equity Initiative, has resulted in influential actions and impact across the nations. Despite all this, where she's doing everything else, Nalini's been a very consistent supporter of ANZIAM for a long time. As I've already mentioned, her role in the Women in Mathematics luncheons, but she was on the executive committee of ANZIAM, and she's been on the J.H. Mitchell selection committee as well. So in summary, Nalini, you've got a distinguished research record, numerous prestigious awards, and an outstanding contribution to the leadership of our discipline. You are most deserving winner of the 2021 ANZIAM Medal. And
Thank you so
I
much.
invite you to say whatever you want to say.
Wow. I don't think there's much time left, though, after that very long introduction. Thank you so much for all those kind words. I am really overwhelmed and humbled by receiving this award. I know there are so many people who have supported me, who are in this Zoom meeting right now and at this conference, not just in Australia, but also in New Zealand. And I want to thank all of them, and I wish I could hug you all and give you a kiss on the cheek, but I'll do that next time. Next time we're face to face. I don't quite know what to say, actually, but I thought it might be good to touch upon just a couple of things, listening to you saying all of those things. I don't know whether many of you know, but I was born in Burma, and you might have heard about this country in the news this week. The military there are rather in love with having coups, and they're having yet another one just this week. To cut a very long story short, my family emigrated to Australia when I was a child, and I was mostly educated in Sydney, ending up with doing honours in applied mathematics at Sydney Uni. And the very first conference I ever went to after doing an honours degree was the Applied Maths Conference at Bundanoon. And I'll leave you to work out which year that was by looking at the ANZIAM booklet. There's a map with all the locations and the years of those conferences. And I remember that Bob Anderson was chair of the Division of Applied Maths, as it was then called, before it became ANZIAM. And he immediately made me feel very welcome. In fact, he used to take me running at lunchtime with him. It was a great conference. And what I felt was this deep sense of community. And that sense of community has never left me about ANZIAM. So there are many, many, many people I've known for all of those years. And I want to mention a few of their names here. Of course, my PhD supervisor, who passed away in 2006, a long time ago now, Martin Kruskal, was the most formative influence in the way I think about mathematics and mathematical physics and applied mathematics. Ted Fackrell was my honours supervisor. I mean, they both put me in front of a very big soccer ball and told me I could kick it in any direction I wanted. And that was fantastic. After that, there was Roger Grimshaw, Ian Sloan, the late Peter Hall, who became a really good friend at a very late stage, unfortunately, of his life, and Neil Trudinger along the way were very, very supportive. And I particularly remember them whenever I think about my long trajectory. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that many of you know, and many of you will know, that building a career in mathematics is a hard journey. It's hard, particularly when there are times where economic circumstances become difficult in universities and the sense of competition grows as a result. And you have to find a way to keep your center and your heart in the right place as you build your career. And I want to tell all the women in the audience here that you belong. You belong in mathematics. And not just the women, the people of diverse gender, the people from different ethnicities, from different language groups, from different countries, you belong. Aside from that one first experience in ANZIAM, I had really no role models in front of me. In fact, to be an applied mathematician meant you had to grow facial hair in those days. And I don't think I was ever successful in doing that. So thank you very much. My husband doesn't want me to mention his name, but he's been a wonderful love of my life and center of everything I do. So thank you to him as well. Thank you once again.
Thanks, Manini. Very well deserved. And I think that's the end of the ceremony. So I'll hand back to Mark in case he wants to make some final remarks.
So thank you to all of the presenters of the medals and particularly all the winners of the medals. This concludes all of our formal part of the medal ceremony. I'd like to invite everybody to follow the medal winners, if the medal winners can stick around and they're not falling in and out of gather. Let's hope that the technology holds up for the next half an hour or so. Over to the social room, and you can congratulate them in person there in a conversation. Don't forget that we're also holding the social event in about 25 minutes, which should give you enough time to say your congratulations to whoever you would like to, and then head over there and be prepared for a night of celebration. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you all soon.